What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of review for Rurouni Kenshin. This is episode 23, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
So, yeah, well, we finally get to see the confrontation between Kenshin and what was it? And
Saito.
yeah, and Saito. Uh, of course, they meet face to face for the first time. But of course, before this, it somewhat picks up after shortly after the last episode with Kenshin being attacked by what was it? Akamatsu, who basically just throws him around, binding him with his chain whip, whatever it was. But of course, Kenshin,
I think that weapon isn't it called like was it like Kisari Gata or
uh,
something like that? It has like a proper name.
Kasari Gama, I think it was called.
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
so
Yeah.
Kenshin manages to break out of it, and eventually he takes the guy down. At the same time, Saito, who of course is going by a different name, tells Kaoru and Yaiko that Kenshin is being targeted, and so he Kaoru offers to let him stay and wait, and of course Saito's waiting inside the dojo hall. Um, so of course Kenshin eventually comes back, and he of course sees Saito waiting in the dojo hall, um, pretty much recognizing him right off the bat. And this is of course where Saito and Kenshin end up fighting one another. Of course, Saito of course uses his signature lunging attack, which of course Kenshin quickly sustains like several wounds from that. But of course, I think Saito uses that attack at, successfully twice. Then he tries it again.
I think he gets stabbed in I guess in the abdomen
Yeah,
area or something.
yeah. So eventually, Saito once again for a third time uses that lunging attack again. But of course, Kenshin manages to dodge it after revealing that after seeing that kind of attack after like one or two times, he can easily just deflect it or avoid it after this.
Yeah, I think he uses some kind of he dodges it and then he spins around and ends up like I think hitting his
Yeah.
backside or something.
And of course, Kenshin eventually reverts back to his Batosai persona when he straight up tells Saito that he's gonna kill him. Which to
Yeah,
Kaoru's shock because
it
uh,
it's kind of like the Gene fight again, where he reverts back to being the bad Batosai, and he just gets like this bloodlust to kill his opponent,
yeah,
because basically, I guess because he's like pushed over the edge essentially.
yeah, and of course, Sanosuke somehow recovers from his injuries and notes that, but that he notices that both fighters are now intent on killing each other due to their inherent bloodlust, and of course,
And we also learned something else too, like that. I guess that that Saito had been in a way like I guess sort of orchestrating some of the events in season one or in this season,
um,
uh, with some of the people that Kenshin had fought.
yeah, he's supposedly working with this Senate official, who's of course responsible for masterminding the whole Gene attacks earlier on in the season. So, but and
Yeah,
of course, Saito still has other intentions, and that of course his intention of fighting against Kenshin.
yeah, yeah. So eventually, like yeah, both of them are pretty much about to like. I mean, uh, Kenshin pretty much says like, yeah, like you said, he's going to he's going to kill Saito. Um, but before they can really, I guess that either of them can kind of land the finishing blow. Well, I think at one point Kenshin actually uh, like uh, cuts his katana in half, like Saito's katana.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, before they can really like do anything else, like the that government official you mentioned before, he shows up.
I think
Uh,
it was
to
a different
or was it?
I think it was like the minister. Uh,
Oh, okay,
yeah, was it Okubo Toshimichi?
yeah,
Who was I think he was associated with both men, or I think Kenshin in particular. So they pretty much like the arrival of this minister interrupts their battle, and that's where the episode ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's looking like the final episode, I guess, is going to be maybe a continuation of this fight or something. Not too sure. I still think that we'll probably get some kind of a tease for Shishio at the end or something. I mean, that's what I'm assuming. They're probably going to save that for the very end. Um, Potentially just kind of teasing another season because obviously this isn't going to be the end or anything like that. I think they're probably eventually going to do another season of this, if not multiple seasons, if they're trying to like faithfully adapt the manga.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of I guess I have some mixed feelings about the new Kenshin. Like, I mean, I've only seen some of the original. I've seen the live action movies, which I like the live action movies. I liked some of what I've seen of the original series. Of course, I know people said like the original series had a lot of filler and stuff. But I'm not sure. I can't really put my finger on it. Like the new series, I like it, but it's just like it feels like in comparison to some parts of the old series, like because I mean I've seen comparison videos, and I mean it's kind of interesting to note how like the old series had these moments where it had these interesting animation techniques that were utilized, and you don't really see that so much with the new Kenshin. It's not that it's not well animated or anything, but I guess the word for it feels a little bit flat at times, where it's just kind of like I kind of some of the fight scenes you hope for a little bit more, and it just you don't really get that same impact, I guess, as you would from maybe if you went back and watched the original series during certain scenes.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, it also just the way they played with like the lighting and stuff in the '90s version, or you don't really get that here. Maybe that's because of the transition over to like digital animation or whatever, but I don't know. I mean, it's fine, but it's just like I feel like the old series did some things better. Maybe in terms of the story and characters, it's a more faithful adaptation, but I feel like it could have. I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is it could have looked better, and it could have maybe done I guess the pacing too a little bit better, because it feels like it's kind of been fairly slow paced for the most part for this season, and it's kind of dealt with a lot of these little story arcs that, I mean, I wouldn't say haven't gone anywhere, but they just haven't really been. Some of them just weren't really that interesting, to be honest, in comparison to some other ones. And yeah, I mean, been a little bit of I guess a little bit of a mixed bag for me. I mean, overall, I guess depending on how the season ends, I'd probably give this a 7. It's enjoyable, but it's not amazing or anything like that. I think it's I guess serviceable
Yeah.
as a remake of
I think
Genshin.
it's to make it more accessible for a modern audience, since
Yeah.
if people haven't watched the original series, or mainly who started off watching the live action series.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I don't really have too much else to say about the episode. It was a fairly decent episode. I mean, it feels sort of like a little bit of a repeat of what the Gene arc, where it's somebody from Kenshin's past as the Batosai comes back to try to threaten Kenshin's friends, and brings out the Batosai and Kenshin to try to get him to sort of betray his ideals and maybe like try to kill his opponent or something. Kind of the same thing happening here, essentially. Not a bad way to end it, but it's just like it feels like okay, we've already seen this just in with a different character, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know if next week is going to be the last episode. I feel like that there's going to be another.
Oh, it might be okay. 25 episodes, I
Yeah,
guess.
it feels too soon for this to for next week to be the last episode. Yeah.
Yeah, next week just might be the I guess maybe the either continuation of this fight or whatever, or the end of this particular arc, and then maybe the episode after that might be the sort of I guess serve as somewhat of an epilogue to this particular season and possibly teasing season 2. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say about it, though. I don't know if you have anything else
Yeah,
to say about the episode.
it was a decent episode. I actually did enjoy the fight between Saito and Kenshin, but with the
Yeah,
fight being interrupted, I guess we probably won't know the actual conclusion to the fight. Heck, I don't even think they're gonna end up continuing the fight even by the next episode.
yeah, probably not. But yeah, guys. So that all being said, I guess until next week, we will see you all later.